Howdy, hover versus dragging. Let's get into it. But before I just want to say this video was voted on by you guys. As now I have this community tab on YouTube, so you can check this out in the future for like updates or events or streams I may be doing, or you can give me some general advice like this lovely fellow here. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so for you guys unfamiliar with the lingo here, allow me to explain. Hover means you have your pen hovering above your play area, pin and nib. And you never really touch your play area to your nib or nib to your play area, however you want to see it. Just if you do it, you only slightly graze it every now and then. Anyway, for dragging, you have your pin and your nib on the play area. Actually, just your nib, not your pin. Your pin pressing the nib to the play area. That's more like it. Anyway, it's pretty self-explanatory, and I know if I didn't do that out there, there's going to be somebody that doesn't know the difference. Anyway, for the comparison. Now, for hovering on the pro side, generally, when you hover, it is considered to be faster than dragging. Now, this is why some people choose it over dragging. Fuck, draggers. I've been playing Skyrim. Anyway, this isn't to say it's always faster than dragging. There are exceptions, but generally, for the most part, it is faster. Like, you can hover a full area faster than you can drag a full area. Also, by hovering, you preserve your tablet's play area and also the nibs, which is especially important for people that use it to draw, and it's also important for cheaper tablets, such as the H420, as I literally scratched the sensor on mine so bad and the surface area so bad, it wouldn't read properly and would just skip. Honestly, it's a shame that some of these tablet companies make their nibs of Ethereum, meanwhile their tablet surface is aluminum foil. Alright, for the cons, its main con is it's considered to lack precision. Honestly, this statement is odd to me because precision means a lot of things here, or can mean a lot of things here. It depends on what you're talking about. Overall, I would say most people mean to say that you can't hit as precisely on the circle. And honestly, I can't say I can agree with this, as there are plenty of hover players that hit circles just fine and just as good as people that drag. But nonetheless, it still affects some, if not most people. So yeah, most people are probably not going to be as precisionable, as persistent, I don't know how to say it, as somebody that drags. I don't know. Another con to it is stability, and this does affect everyone. You will always be less stable hovering your pen, period. I don't really need to explain this because I really can't and would just waste a lot of time. It's mainly a technical fault of hovering with your pen, meaning manufacturers, how the pin's made, how the tablet's made. And it's also a human problem that factor into it. Just, you have to have some really strong hand muscles and develop really strong grip to be able to perform at higher difficulties with this style. So you pretty much got to start from the beginning hovering and continue hovering all the way through your career, so that way you have consistent build-up. And now for the dragging side. Dragging side. The pros to it is generally its stability and its precision. I mean, you can start to see the yin yang in these, like, you know, one pros, cons. Anyway, the nib being on the surface, you really don't have any stability issues, so as long as you're not physically shaking. And even with some shakiness, it is lessened compared to hovering, that's for sure. Anyway, the precision is kind of self-explanatory. You plot your ink more precisely, and you learn exact muscle memory rather than just a general hover area. Again, this depends on the area, as smaller areas will show different results. Now for the cons, it's mostly considered that dragging is slower, and to an extent I can agree, but for some players and play areas this just isn't true. Also, pin nibs and friction on the surface of the tablet aren't really a big issue, but can be. As I mentioned earlier, the H420 I had was ruined by dragging. But with this being said, I have dragged on a 490, a 480, a 470, a 471, a 640, and the Gaomon, and all showed no issues with the surface area as regards to reading or quality of the surface area, other than just the smoothness degrading on the tablet, which should be expected. Alright, with the pros and the cons out of the way, which is truly better, hovering or dragging? The answer is really personal preference, and my preference just happens to be dragging. I will admit though that the differences to the areas and the styles aren't really major in most aspects, and generally, for the most part, it's not going to make you better or worse unless one style is either physically hurting you, like giving you RSI, or you're physically shaking. But you really should choose your style based on comfort and what's more comfortable to you, and not mocking another person's style. For me, I drag because it's more stable. I'm not naturally right-handed, and I used to hover right-handed, and I had issues with stability and shaking, and even on my left, I had it slightly. Overall, it's just more comfortable to drag, and I don't regret my decision. I actually did play better when I switched. And the speed thing isn't always true, as I mentioned. I play smaller areas, so I'm just as fast as anyone hovering on the same area as me. Now for the nibs. I don't really have an issue. I did used to have an issue, but I've had the same nib on my 471 pin that I use on my 480 for almost 5 months now. But when I did use the 480 pin on my 480, I did have to change every now and then. Also, there's no sign of degrading on my tablet areas on any of them, and I've dragged on all of them. But I do admit on cheaper tablets, the scratching does show up a bit more, and it seems like the nibs do degrade a bit quicker, especially on the Gaomon. It's really awful. Also, if you're looking for a fantastic tablet for dragging, shameless promotion. Anyway, at a lower price, you should check out my my XP Pen 640 review. It's on screen now. And thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below. Do you drag? Do you hover? What you think is better and why. Also give people some tips that are just starting out. If you have any advice to give somebody that's going to switch from one to the other, if you did it, let them know how you did it, and let them know just talk in the comments. It's a community. Let's get it going. Let's get it. See ya.